College made me retarded. Well, like it almost made me retarded and is currently making thousands of young adults broke, unemployed, and unhappy. We have to ask ourselves, what is the purpose of an education? It's either A, to become a more enlightened person in the world, happier, healthier, better able to navigate life, and then B, to be employed. But now college has gotten its meaning twisted. It's become too focused on point B about promising us this future of being gainfully employed and working a career and being in a 9 to 5, and it can't deliver on its promise. So what is the point of college? If college can't get us a job and it can't make us smarter, what are they actually teaching us? I ask all of us who are outside of, science and math to take a look at our curriculum. Most of it is busy work. Most of it is sitting in a classroom and pretending like what we're doing relates to the real world. I remember I had this professor in college and he would just spend half the class talking about his philosophy of life and insulting London, England, and how World War II was historically misrepresented. What did that have to do with business IT systems? We're funneling piles of crap into our youngest generations. We are teaching them that listening and being obedient is the way to be successful in life. But we've got it all twisted. Because if we expect students to go to college, then we are inherently implying that it has a benefit. And the biggest realization of me as a student is that I actually don't want college. I don't want to be in college. I don't like how it's supposedly benefiting me. I don't like the career path that it's lining me up to go on. And so the biggest lesson college taught me was resistance to obedience. Because why should we just be worker bees? Why should we subdue our creativity to a degree? That fits into the system of capitalism because it gets you working 40, 50 hours a week doing homework and busy work and sitting in line and listening to your professors. That's such a load of heinous bullshit. We're spending most of our lives inside of a classroom instead of experiencing. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of benefit for science, math, and, art, but those actually require you to be in a university to have some degree of institutionalized study. But most of our gen ed requirements are complete jokes. So why are we as young adults okay with this? It's almost like, oh, we don't have much onus over our life. And I'm sure that many of your parents expect that you go to college. You're financially tied up in participating in this very broken education system. So you have no choice but to go. And this leads to a position of advantage that these colleges are in because, if us as young adults have to go to school, then they can just keep raising and raising and raising up the price because they know that parents are going to take out student loans and these kids are going to pay for it. But what if young adults had a greater degree of decision? What if we could get educated on our own and online and in our own ways? And in fact, we actually are. But too many of us are okay with just making ourselves into a career. And that's the dumb thing. Why are we meant to have like a career? Why is college not valuing the individual? Like we only have maybe 20, 40, 50 categories of majors. Like I get it. Like we're supposed to have a life skill, but kids are able to just like change like their degrees willy-nilly. As long as you're paying for it, you can graduate with a degree. So like What point is actually choosing a major and designating a skill? I'll take an example of France. So when you grow up in France, and I'm not French, but it'd be kind of cool if I was, you're able to take an exam early in high school that determines, what pathway you're going to take in, college or college level schooling. But in the US, all we have is a fucking ACT, which people who are privileged enough get private tutors to pay for them to go to higher end institutions. We don't live in this idea of a meritocracy. So instead of actually figuring it out, it's more just like, okay, how much did your parents pay and how much are they willing to pay for your degree, which has you graduating in debt? And the issue with this debt is that it actually prevents you from pivoting. If I owe a lot of money in my head, I'm going to say to myself, well, I spent all this time working to become an English professor. One of my friends, in fact, is working to become an English professor, and they won't hire her for a full-time position. And she's not even shit at her job, but she can't get one. And so she's kind of stuck in this trap of thinking, well, I paid all this money. If I pivot now, I would have just wasted all of that. And, that's what I like to call the sunk cost fallacy. And college is a perfect example. I spent 4 years getting a degree. So when I graduate, I must have to pivot. I can't pivot. I have to do what I studied, because what was worth all that time? And, this is where we get confused of the real benefit of college, is that most of this comes down to diverse social experience, traveling with friends, socializing, learning to live as an adult, and isn't really inside of the classroom. Like, the more that I've actually disconnected myself from the classroom, the more that I've actually grown, because now I'm able to have all these social benefits, but I'm not like this 9 to 5, like, I'm gonna be a wage slave. Oh, please, sir, please let me do your homework. Please, I want to do the homework so bad. Like, dude, like, just remove yourself from that. And so this begs the question is, do we actually need college if most of the benefits that we're now getting from it are outside the classroom? And I'd like to say that I think college is great, but it's currently broken. And in its broken form, we do not need it anymore. We need to focus on building community with our peers, learning real skills, and developing relationships that can propel us into becoming more fleshed out and colorful adults. Like, we can't just be one thing anymore. Like, we don't know if we're going to wake up tomorrow and AI is going to take every single job. We've got global warming. We've got all this crazy shit, political turmoil going on. And you're supposed to be satisfied with like one cookie cutter mold to your little degree. It's not going to work that way. And so giving up on this idea of having a career in one particular area or being your degree will actually allow you to be more flexible. And for me, I've tried to take the college as more of a skills experience. Okay, I know how to talk to people. Okay, I know how to socialize. Okay, I know how to make strategy. And instead of designating that energy to someone else, I'm saying, okay, that's my own. This is what is making me a more profound and strong individual. But college tries to take you outside of yourself and get you to designate those labor hours to a professor, B to homework, and C to an employer. And you'll notice all this propaganda around your campus about, oh, look, this person got a job. Oh, boy, 2 thumbs up, right? That's such fucking horseshit, dude. Like, there's so little benefit now that, like, when there is just a tiny amount of accomplishment, we are celebrated. We are washing over our little career fairs. And that's what cracked me up the most about career fairs in college. Is like, they would have all these companies come in, we put on our suits, we walk in all handy dandy, and half those companies were like, your resume looks good, but we're actually not hiring until next year, so you're gonna have to apply again. And it's like, what the hell was the point of having a career fair for a company that's not hiring? It's propaganda. Because college has become a business. And this doesn't just negatively affect students outside of STEM, it negatively affects STEM, because everything is profit incentivized. So people want to do real research that, could solve healthcare problems or help people, oftentimes have to jump barriers of funding. It sucks collectively. So take yourself outside of the box and say, look, I'm not ascribed to college. College isn't my self-worth. So that way you don't become one of these washed up 24-year-olds that graduates and they have no social life, because everything about their identity, their career, their debt was tied to a resume, was tied to a diploma. I'm going to walk across that stage, but I'll do it with a middle finger in the back of my head, because I know that college is a bit of a scam. Don't give up hope.